something about Michio Kaku's expression didn't sit right. This wasn't the confident, ever-curious theoretical physicist the world was used to seeing on television, grinning while unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos. No, this time, he hesitated. His voice cracked. His eyes lingered too long on a single image projected behind him. And when he finally spoke, the room, filled with elite scientists, journalists, and space historians, fell into a silence so deep it felt like the vacuum of space itself. The presentation was meant to reveal new findings from advanced lunar observation satellites. But what unfolded that day sent a seismic wave through the scientific community. Because this wasn't just data. It was a confession. Something hidden beneath the surface of the moon had just rewritten everything we thought we understood about space, time, and the history of our own planet. And by the end of this video, you too may understand why Michio Kaku, brilliant, composed, and unshakably rational, could no longer hold back his tears. Because what they found wasn't natural. The lunar lattice Kaku began with a revelation that quietly dismantled decades of lunar science. Utilizing newly developed quantum deep imaging satellites, researchers conducted a high-resolution scan of the moon's subsurface. These were not radar pings. This was imaging on a scale we've never attempted before. And what it revealed was stunning. Instead of a solid, rocky core, the moon's interior showed vast hollow chambers, some stretching for hundreds of kilometers, aligned in symmetrical patterns no natural process could explain. These weren't ancient lava tubes or air pockets. They had structure, geometry, intent. Localized thermal scans added something even stranger, precise heat signatures, pulsing in timed intervals from within these voids. They were too focused to be volcanic and too regular to be random. Something inside the moon was alive, not in the biological sense, but as a system. A mechanism. Perhaps even a reactor. Kaku didn't name it. He didn't have to. The data spoke for itself. The global grid, then came the gravitational anomalies, those subtle irregularities dismissed for years as instrument error or tidal noise. But this time, plotted in high resolution, they formed a lattice. A global skeletal grid. One that ran pole to pole. Cross-hatched with such mathematical precision that it aligned perfectly with the internal cavities and strange reflective structures uncovered beneath the surface. This wasn't random. It was engineered. 3 independent space agencies confirmed it, an invisible scaffolding stabilizing the moon in its orbit. And if that scaffolding was still functional, if it still had power, then the moon might be doing more than orbiting the Earth. It might be regulating it. Our tides. Our axial tilt. Our seasonal rhythm. Perhaps even our biology. And if it was placed, if it was built, then the obvious question became unavoidable. Who built it? And why? Echoes of myth. Kaku's tone shifted as he moved from data to myth. He presented Sumerian, Mayan, and Egyptian texts, ancient records that spoke of a time before the moon. Civilizations that referred to it as an arrival, not a constant. They described it as a watcher, a bringer of balance, even a teacher. We've long seen these myths as metaphors. But layered over the lattice data, the myths began to sound less poetic and more like preserved memory. A warning, perhaps, encoded in story. Even the perfect alignment during solar eclipses, an event so mathematically exact that Earth is the only known place where it occurs, felt less like coincidence and more like demonstration. Like spectacle. Was it designed to be seen? To guide? To monitor? And if it has always been guiding us, what happens if it ever stops? Reflective materials. Then came the final reveal. Beneath the crust, tomography revealed reflective metallic compounds in geometric formations. They absorbed and redirected radar in ways natural materials cannot. These weren't raw ores. These were alloys. Alloys with resilience far beyond anything we've developed. When simulated under extreme pressure, heat, and stress, these materials behaved like protective casing. Not for geology. but for machinery. For time. For something sleeping inside. Moonquakes, once dismissed as mere seismic spasms, were reanalyzed. Their long, ringing resonance began to sound less like geologic groaning and more like echoing movement. Like activate, the bell, perhaps the most haunting moment, came not from new data, but from something we've known for decades and simply chose to ignore. During the Apollo 12 mission, NASA engineers deliberately crashed the lunar module's ascent stage into the moon. And the moon rang. For nearly an hour. It rang like a bell. Now, with modern models of its internal structure, that experiment has been reinterpreted. Natural rock doesn't resonate like that. Unless it's hollow. Or worse, hollow and reinforced. Kaku referenced AI-powered geological simulations that confirmed what we had feared. Either the moon is unlike any other body in the solar system, or it's not a natural body at all. And what's even more unsettling is this. When later Apollo missions produced similar impacts, the ringing happened again. The moon responded. The emissions, low-frequency radio emissions, have been recorded for years, emanating from the moon's far side. They're subtle. But they're persistent. Patterns in the electromagnetic field that don't match any geological explanation. And when filtered through modern signal analysis, some revealed repeating sequences, resembling primitive digital code. Some scientists speculate it may be a beacon. Or surveillance. And when deep space probes pass behind the moon, these emissions spike. Not randomly. Predictably. As if it's watching. The orbit, then there's the orbit. The moon's size and distance are so perfect that it can entirely eclipse the sun. This isn't just rare. It's unique. Simulations show that the moon's orbit is too stable. No long-term drift. No irregularity. Even more bizarrely, it's tidally locked. We only ever see one face of it. Forever. Textbooks claim this is the result of gravitational friction. But Kaku suggested something far less comforting. That the moon was meant to show us one face. And the other? Meant to be hidden. The missing tapes in the final act of his presentation, Kaku revealed something far darker. Records from multiple Apollo missions have been lost. High-frequency audio tapes. Telemetry data. Communications from astronauts suddenly cut off when orbiting the far side. Gone. And now, whistleblowers from within NASA have come forward, claiming that some of these tapes weren't lost. They were erased. Edited. Redacted. Private astronaut debriefings, never made public, described unexplained lights. Rhythmic sounds. Structures. Mechanical echoes beneath their boots. Moments when their voices changed, when they spoke in awe, then fear. Some were told never to speak about it again. And many never did. The collapse of silence as Kaku stepped away from the podium. No one clapped. No one asked questions. This wasn't the silence of intellectual wonder. This was the silence of realization. The moon, the silent, glowing sentinel above us, may not be what we think it is. It may never have been. Not a satellite. Not a coincidence. Not ours. If it was placed with intent. If it's watching, it always has been. And if Michio Kaku, a man who explains quantum mechanics with a smile, walks off stage with tears in his eyes, then maybe we should all be paying closer attention. Because this isn't just about lunar geology anymore. It's about the possibility that something has been guiding humanity from above. Watching. Waiting. And maybe, just maybe, preparing. The question is, what happens when we dig too deep? What happens when it wakes? Let us know in the comments. Do you believe the moon is natural, or is it something else entirely? And if this revelation shook you like it did us, subscribe for more. Hit the bell so you don't miss what we uncover next. Because sometimes, the truth isn't out there. It's been right above us,